Life is a series of unscripted experiences that forge us into unique individuals. These are the experiences and stories of those who possess the will, beliefs, and fortitude required to overcome obstacles, pursue their passions, and achieve success. Welcome to the HawkCast with your host, AJ Hawk.
Tom Segura, mostly stories. His new hour on Netflix right now. His second Netflix special, third that he's filmed as far as I know. But Tom, welcome back. I think you might be my first repeat guest here on the podcast.
Oh shit!
Hey,
thanks for having me back again, man.
I tell you what, man. So, I do this little podcast deal, and guys like that I play with and coaches I have. There's a couple of them that some of them are aware of it. That they don't really. A lot of guys don't really listen to podcasts, so they have no idea. What's that? What do you mean? What are you talking about? It's like talking to your grandpa.
Right.
How do I find that on my AM radio? So,
right.
But man, after I released my last episode with you, I had so many people reach out to me like that are players and coaches. They're like, "Man, you had Segura on." They're like, "I've loved Segura forever." So you have a ton of maybe it's because you're an athlete yourself, but you have a ton of fans out there that are athletes, man.
I'm pretty hardcore. Are you willing to put your reputation on the line and get me a tryout with the Bengals?
Of course, yeah, I could.
Yeah.
Do I need to? Do I have to tell him, "Hey, this guy's hey, coach, this guy's legit. I think we're gonna sign him for sure."
Like I've seen him run in drills, and he's pretty sick.
I've seen his high school picture. Was that your high school or college picture you sent me?
That was high school where I'm holding my nuts in the team photo.
I might have to we might put that picture up for when I post this episode. That's going to have to be the screenshot for us.
I mean, if it gets me my shot, you know what I mean? Maybe it'll help.
How old are you now?
Dude, totally young, totally NFL ready, man. 36. That's when most new guys come in at 36, right?
Yeah, that's your prime. You're still in your prime. Jesus was 33, right? So you're just past that.
Dude, I'm just past that, man. I mean, Jordan was winning championships at 33. It doesn't matter. It's a different sport. Absolutely. So you're telling me I have NFL fans, man? I have players that are fans?
You have a lot of players that are fans. A lot of guys that like stand-up obviously love you. But, yeah, it was weird. People who came out of the woodwork that I didn't know were even stand-up fans that were just fans of a big Tom Segura, man. So, yeah, wow. You have a ton of them out there.
That's great. Tell me Pac-Man was one of them.
Yes, I will tell you that to make you feel better. Pac-Man was one of them.
That would absolutely make my year if you're like, dude, you know who's your number one? Pac-Man.
If he, you know what? I'm going to have to ask him. I wouldn't be shocked if he was a fan of yours. He would love it. If he watched your stuff, he would definitely love it. Maybe he has. We'll check it out, man. I'll let you know.
All right. All right. Send me a message, man.
I will.
Tell him to make an Instagram post, because he's really good at
to my boy Tom, yeah. How would that make your life if he made an Instagram video for you?
Especially if he talked shit in it. His post Steelers shit talk Instagram posts were amazing. There was one. Wait, there was because you guys played them
twice in a month almost. Yeah.
Right. So after the first one, it was even funnier. He talked a lot of shit on that one, and the second one was a little more. It's kind of a downer, I'm a Bengals fan, so
Yeah, I know. Your Cincinnati roots, man. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's a passionate dude. I respect. He's still a hell of a player at 31, 32 years old. Yeah, he really is, man.
It's funny that the more I think about it, it is really crazy. I think it's pretty well known among NFL fans how your guys' careers are, average 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right, guys are just in and out, and then when guys like you and him are around, I don't know, man. 10 seasons, it's really crazy. How crazy is you played with him, right? How crazy is it what Charles Woodson did?
Oh my God, yeah, I played 7-8 years with Charles. That dude, I watched him win the defensive MVP, and he just this past year, his last year that he just announced that he's retiring. I think 18 seasons.
Yeah,
he was killing it. He was still playing every snap and just playing really well.
That's we might not really see anything quite like that. That might be every 30 years you see a guy quite like
DBs
that.
DBs especially, man, because everything is speed, and regardless whether it's I think it's usually health that kind of slows guys down maybe over time. Not just maybe not one big thing, but just multiple things kind of stack up on them.
Yeah.
And when you're a dude like Charles playing guys in the slot, playing nickel position, safety, he'll be out of corner a little bit at 39, I think he is now, 38.
Insane.
Yeah, so like if he's doing it, why can't Tom Segura?
That's all I'm trying to tell you, man. Coach, just
What number? What number are you gonna wear?
I mean, I think I'd take either 52 or 55.
Are you playing D line?
You know, I mean, if Gino wants to move over, but I feel like, you know, there's certain coverages that maybe you and Burfict could probably take a hike, and I could probably cover for you. You know,
I believe it.
I mean, your height.
What's that?
How tall are you?
Barely 6'1".
Okay, that's me. How much do you weigh?
About 240.
Okay, I'm like probably a little more solid and 10 pounds heavier. So we're basically like I could probably wear your uniform. They wouldn't even know you were out of the game.
You're right. I mean, if I could grow a sweet beard like you, then
yeah,
it was
man.
like you could fool my wife, probably my parents.
Let's do it, man. Let's take
the real test. Can you fool my kids? Can you fool them?
It would be tough.
Hey, Dad. What's up, guys?
Yeah. Oh shit! What happened?
Go Bengals! Did I lose you?
Did I lose you? Hold on. Are you back? All right, I got you.
I'm there. Oh yeah, I get it. All good on my end.
How old are your kids?
5. My son will be 4 here shortly, or my son will be 3 shortly, and then I have a new son that was born on New Year's Eve.
Oh, dude. You know, I got a 5-week-old, so we're basically.
Yeah. Ellis, is it Ellis? Is that his name?
Yeah. Does it get easier, man? That first one.
Yeah, because they become, as kids get older, they become like little people. So they're like self-sufficient a little bit. My 5-year-old daughter, I mean, she's like, I would trust her babysitting my 2-week-old pretty much.
Really?
Legally, I can't let that happen.
It's not a good idea.
No, I wouldn't. But honestly, like it's a girl thing too. She's really like
nurturing,
professional, nurturing. Wants to be my wife. Like all the time. I'll joke with her and tell her that she's twins with my wife, and she's like, "Come on, Dad," and she thinks it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you got a 5-week-old, so that stage, like, is he lifting his head up or anything yet?
Yeah, he does. He's if you put him on you or put him do a little tummy time, he's already picking up and moving his head. But I'm just saying he goes through these like this witching hour. Like he's chill for a lot of the day. 11 p.m. he loses his mind, and I'm like, and just trying to figure out what the crying is about. It's
tough, man. Is your wife breastfeeding or not? Is that a personal question?
No, yeah, she is.
Okay, so yeah, that's what's hard too. So like, all my kids are breastfed, and it's like, what you kind of sit there right next to them, like, okay, here, what can I do? Like, if she hasn't pumped bottles yet.
My kids, you have other kids too?
I have 2 older kids.
So how many total?
3.
3 total.
Yeah, 5, 3. Yeah. 2,
okay.
2 weeks now, 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about like kind of like Cromartie. Like
oh yeah. Well, I tell you what, how impressive is that dude through the vasectomy?
Dude.
Does he need to call his doctor? Like, how does that?
I'm a big Florida State fan. I think it's just like that. That's just Leon County sperm right there. It's just going.
I always brag about how fertile I feel I am. I mean, Cromartie is really. I mean, he's doing
12,
it.
man.
Is that 12?
I think it's 12. That'll beat because they're twins. She's pregnant with twins.
Oh yeah. Ooh, man. So, how has your little? I know your son's only 5 weeks. How is that? Has that changed like your stand-up schedule or how you guys work now? I assume your wife hasn't got back on stage.
Oh my God, she actually did a spot. She did a spot like a week ago.
With him? Was she holding him?
No. Oh, she just ran out and did a spot and came back. But yeah, he'll be on stage soon. Don't think we won't do that. But it's dramatic for like non-parents. It is dramatic, man. So I think the big thing now is I've never really had to be. I think it's different for athletes and comics. The big thing would be time management. You guys are used to schedules, right? Practices at this time. Weightlifting, training, and all that shit is like all laid out. As a comedian, you thrive on the fact that you never have schedules. I mean, there's showtime. That's about it,
Mm-hmm.
And these last 5 weeks, it's like, I scheduled this. and I schedule it at the house so that like my wife's aware, and
Yeah.
I'm not just gonna like bail, like I'll see you when I see you, that kind of thing. Whereas before I might be like, hey, I'm gonna go do this podcast. Afterwards, I'm gonna meet a buddy for some food, and then we're gonna see a movie, and then you know what I mean. Like I'll see you later, but can't do that really with a 5-week-old, and that's even with a nanny coming over almost every evening and helping, giving us some relief. It's just draining,
It's your first one, and you guys are both comics too, so it's not like your wife comes from the executive world, sitting at a desk
Right.
9 to 5.
No, man. And I still have to work too, man. Like I did Denver last week, and I had to leave them, which kind of sucked. And I'm gonna leave again in February for 2 nights for Salt Lake and 2 nights for Phoenix. So that's obviously different when you have a baby. You're more, it's a new worry, right? You're leaving town, you're thinking about, especially when they're this young. It's like, I'm just praying that when I'm on one of these road dates that there's not a phone call like, there's a fever, I'm at the hospital, like that kind of shit where I'm like, freaking out and trying to book a flight back.
Yeah, there's always. I mean, I still go through that with our third. I'm still like, I'll stand over top of him, like feels a little back. Is he breathing? What's going on? Like you still do that with the third, even. I feel
Really?
like. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because I'm more aware of it. Like, have you seen that from? Have you gotten terrible advice from friends that have kids?
Yeah, I mean,
like rush him to the hospital every 2 seconds. Oh, this isn't right. Oh, he's got a spot on his neck. His right arm's twitching. Take him to the ER.
I listen, people are it's funny. Most people are passive aggressive in their judgment.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, they'll be like, you have a nanny? I go, I'll be like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I didn't realize, your wife is going to work. And I go, no, she's not. And they go, oh.
That's the worst. What do you say to them?
I'll be like, we just make a lot of money and we can do things like that. And they're like, oh, okay. I mean, like, I'm not going to get it. Or like, people go like, what age is he going to sleep in the bed with you or something like that, And I'll be like, no, I think that's a bad idea. Well, we happen to think, and I'm just like, yeah, no, that's great. I understand that, that's your choice. Good for you. We have a crib and he'll sleep in there.
I think you'll get so much unsolicited advice. Then that's like one of my, I know I've talked about it. Like it's one of the most annoying things ever. And it's true. Unless you're living in your house with your kid, people have no idea what's going on, how easy or how hard it may be. And I've seen that with people just love, I don't know, and especially older people whose kids are grown. They're like, oh, well, no, my kids, they came to dinner with me. They sat perfectly. They never made a peep. They never they never asked for my phone, and they were perfect little gentlemen and ladies. And I'm like, first off, your kid's 35. You have no clue what it's like to have a kid. You have no like memory of that. So I have a 5 and a 3-year-old, and I forget what it's like to have a baby already. Like having a new baby now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forget like how fragile they are and how every single second they need you. Like they want to be held.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's I keep actually hearing from parents about, because when it's at this point, it's so hard. You go, how do you ever sign up for a second baby? And every parent that has multiple kids has told us, you totally forget how hard it is once you're kind of out of that window. And that's how you sign up for a second one.
That might be, yeah. Or you're just Cromartie and it doesn't matter what happens. Like
Are you going to get the snip?
Me? No, if I do, I'm not doing it now. I mean, we still might keep.
You're not going to go to his doctor, right?
No, I can't go to that guy. I mean, who knows where he went, but I don't plan on it anytime soon. I don't know if we're going to have any more. I don't know. We're still like, we're in the midst of this one where we're trying to be able to get my wife even like a spare second so she can take a shower. With the other 2 kids want to be around so much too. Like they're so loving that they almost smother our new baby. So it's like trying to deal with that, but it's good so far. So I don't know. We'll keep going. What about you?
You bring it help too? Do you get help? You guys?
We don't have like professional help or any like. See, like my schedule's so weird too, to where I don't know. We can't. It's hard to find good help. We're lucky. We have family around, so they'll help. Like my parents will drive in. They're about a little over an hour away. Her parents are around, so and some grandparents. So they'll come if we want to go to dinner or something. They can definitely help us out, or like a weekend, a couple of days if we need it. But we don't have any like. It's hard to find good help, man. Like especially when your schedule's weird, where I'm not going to a 9 to 5 right now, so I can't be like, hey, I need you Monday through Friday from this time to this time.
Is your schedule pretty chill right now, though, or no?
Yeah, it is. It really is, but it's so up in the air too, where there's different things that you do that there's no set time, there's no set schedule. It's probably like I'm sure, like with you, like you said, you scheduled this to come on, and you're in your podcast office that you guys do your podcast with your wife. Like the same thing with me. Like I'll put it on my calendar on my phone and make sure my wife knows. Like we sync them up. Like, hey, I'm just letting you know. Like I got a haircut tomorrow at 8.
It's
like,
huge, right? It's a game changer. And we never had that. I think the crazy thing for me is that that's the thing that I'm doing now at 36. So I went 36 years with never being like, hey, are you aware of my haircut tomorrow? But now it's like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the little things that you just have to like figure out that I every once in a while I used to joke. I just want to make the house aware that I have no clothes. I need to get a pair of jeans. So if you want to come with me, I'm going to wherever tomorrow, like at noon when the kids go down for their naps or like whatever it may be. So that's probably a big, 36, it's your first kid. You're so used to being able to like be on your own schedule and just jet out of the house. I'm sure there's plenty of times your wife's like, where's Tom? Like, what? I don't know where he's at. And you've been gone for 6 hours.
Man, and the other thing is, I know it sounds cliche, but the sleep thing, that's no joke, man. That is no joke. I mean, I am used to sleeping uninterrupted, 10-hour stretches, like it's no big deal. And it's not the case right now. It's pretty crazy.
I know you mentioned it on your most recent podcast. I think when you went to you left for Denver to go work, and you were all saying like, well, obviously I'm going to miss them, but I'm looking forward to getting some good sleep, and it ended up not turning out that way. Like how was it, or what did you do?
The other thing about you do shows is that you are wired after shows, right? You perform, especially like on multiple shows. Now you do 2 shows, you're not even back at the hotel until 1:30, 2 in the morning, and you don't go, well, I'll go to bed now. So you dick around, you're online, you're watching TV, you're eating edibles, and you're just like
edible daddy, or what was your name? What'd you call yourself?
Vape dad.
What was it?
Vape dad.
Vape pen. Yeah, it was the best.
So yeah, just like you're just being a knucklehead, and it's kind of like being in high school again. When you're spending the night at like your friends, you guys are just, and all of a sudden you look at the clock and it's 4 in the morning, and I'm like, dude, it's 4 in the morning. Like, go to bed. But for some reason, there's a thing that happens when you go to bed. I don't know about you, but for me, when I go to bed that late, it's never quality sleep. I wake up, even if I sleep straight 8 hours, the next morning I feel groggy. I feel shitty about it. I don't feel good. So that whole day is basically spent recovering from kind of a whack night of sleep,
Oh yeah, and so that was like your first. I mean, are you ever able to sleep after shows? I know that's like a big thing with athletes too, that they can't. After the game, you can't just go home and go to bed.
Right? You got to be keyed up.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys? Here, can I ask you a question?
Oh, you do whatever you want.
Let's say you what's the furthest west you play? You guys play the Chargers, right? So let's say you go out to San Diego.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon game. It finishes whatever time in the evening. Is it, shower and all that stuff, team bus straight to a charter?
Yep, straight to the plane always.
And then you go fly back, you land, it's probably 2, 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah, at least. And a lot of times you play West Coast game. Sometimes a West Coast game at night is brutal. You're landing at like 6 a.m.
So then it's get on buses there, back to the stadium?
Mm-hmm. To your car.
Then cars to the house. Yep. And then for home games, cars are obviously parked at the stadium, but you're still getting home pretty late, I imagine.
Like a noon or a 1 o'clock game at home is beautiful, man. You could be home by 5 o'clock sometimes. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's awesome. When I was in Green Bay, especially because everything's so close, And at Central Time, we would kick off at noon Central, 1 Eastern. It'd be 4 o'clock, and I'm strolling home. 4:30. We're pulling in. It was great.
And what do you do something like after a game? You know, whether I don't know, let's say an intense game or something. Do you have to wind down off your game a little, right?
Yeah, I think for sure. Regardless of what the outcome is, even.
Do you do anything specific? Is it like play video games, or is it like
nothing specific? I mean, when we were younger, I would say before we had kids, we had a good group of young guys in Green Bay. There was a couple places we would all go out together a lot, it would be like a cool bar where we would kind of take over whatever family was in town. You would bring them along, and they had food and pool tables, and we would kind of go to these spots. We did that for a few years, and then now though, and even recently, I mean, over the last however many years, I don't like doing anything specific now. A lot of times we'll try to go to dinner maybe directly from the game, like with our parents or who are in town or friends in town, all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's cool, man. This is one I wrote down because I remember I heard this years ago, and since we talked about him, I wanted to ask you. Years ago, someone told me that Charles Woodson, was known to not work out. Like he was that he was such a natural athlete that he was not a weight room guy at all. And I didn't know if that was like a known thing or it was kind of like just a rumor mill thing.
No, I think that's a rumor thing. It's possible when he was young, maybe. He's obviously such a natural freak, but when he was in Green Bay, now he worked out. He worked out hard and did a lot of stuff to try to take care of his body. So it could definitely be when he was young.
Gotta write this.
Yeah, write that down.
Call this guy after the show.
There you go. But that happens like that. There's definitely guys like that though. 100%. Oh my goodness! Especially the guys that look like the biggest freaks and are absolutely shredded and just look like you could never look. Any of us could ever look if we took steroids for 20 straight years and worked out every day. Those are the guys that do the least and don't really work out.
Yeah. I did know a guy like that in college who was like you're describing, so yoked that you're like, and then I was like, well, how much time do you spend working out? He was like, none. Nothing. I'm like, well, he's like, yeah, it's just all natural. Like everything just popping out of you is all natural. He's like, yeah, that is fucking unfair, man.
Exactly. That's when I tell my kids, you got to realize, man, life's not fair. And you look at those guys, like every once in a while you'll see them, and I don't like, it doesn't get you upset, but you're like, you know what, man, that dude definitely hit the genetic lottery when it came to his body. I mean, usually you can't say a lot of times you usually don't get the full package when that's the case, though.
Right.
Like if that dude that was the absolute most huge physical freak, if he was also super smart and had great instincts, like there'd be no room for me. Like I wouldn't be around. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you do a lot of stuff at this point in your career to maintain? In other words, like not just everyone starts out lifting weights and stretching, but then the more like the more insight we get into guys' careers in the NFL, it's like this dude, sits in a sauna with these oils and bathes in them, and then he has whatever, like 100 needles, acupuncture, and all this crazy. He sees a shaman that
does ayahuasca in Costa Rica on the weekends. Yeah.
Do you step it up to crazy shit to maintain?
I don't do anything crazy because I don't think anything works like that. Like I just think, as far as I'm concerned, like a lot of there's so many turd trainer guys, these gurus, air quotes, that want to say that they take care. Oh, you got to go see my guy. You got to go see my guy. You'll hear athletes say that a lot. Oh, I'm gonna go out to my guy. I'm gonna get right this offseason. I'm like, all right, buddy. I'm gonna be in my basement doing squats. So just shut up. Don't call me. Like I don't think there's no secret pill you can take. There's no secret. Like for me, I know what works for me is just to work out. I like to work out almost every day and do different things depending on if I'm hurt, if I'm coming off of surgery, whatever it may be. Like I'm just going to always work through the, whatever kind of injuries I have. So I don't let little things kind of bite me, but there's nothing I do crazy. I got some acupuncture from a guy in Green Bay, last couple years when I was there. And then I couldn't find anybody good. So I actually, every once in a while, I do some acupuncture myself, man. Get you can order the boxes of needles on Amazon. Just pop those things in your knees and ankles, wherever you want them.
But you're in a way old school because you just believe in just hit the weights.
Yeah,
right?
I don't believe in any garbage training room stuff. I hate all of that. I love the trainers. I tell them all the time, like, man, if you got to plug it in, get that out of my face. Like, it's not going to do anything. Let me rub ultrasound on it. So many guys just get ultrasound on their knees or ankles every day, stem machine, or have like, come on, man, go home.
How about, do you believe in like core stuff, like, whatever, abdominal things, push-ups, bear crawling, the kind of stuff that is, it's, what your body resistant to?
Yeah, I do. There's a lot of things now like that we do before we lift. I'd say I do more now than I did. Like the getting ready type, type stuff that, like I guess you call it core, and like the different crawling and to keep your body like aligned, and you use like the little muscle type things. And all these little movements that are, I don't think like doing them just once a week is good. I think if you do them like really consistently, almost every day, I think that kind of adds up and kind of builds up. You're making, as my one coach and Mark Lovat used to say, you're making deposits every single day. You just keep making deposits and keep making them, and then one of these times in February we're gonna take a big withdrawal out of the Super Bowl, stuff like that. He says.
Oh, that's pretty good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like
So.
seeing, what's his name? Vrabel on man. He's the Ohio State guy, right?
Yeah, I used to work out with Vrabes in the off season. When he was still playing.
Him on Hard Knocks was. See,
I didn't see it. How was he? I heard he was great.
He was phenomenal. You could, first of all, you'd know better than anybody. You know, like guys that really do love the game, and usually as players, those guys end up making the best coaches because they really love it. And it came through so much that the guy is a fanatic, like that he fucking loves football, and he was in dudes' faces. I mean, he was coaching people up, but he was also telling people how much they suck and really challenging guys, challenging guys that were kind of on the fence, guys that were, they hadn't made the 53 yet. And he was just like, basically, we're not going to use you if you're going to play like that. But really he was animated. He was passionate. It was really great for the show. He was great on it.
I knew he would be a great character when I heard they were, shooting with the Texans. And then Vrabel's an Ohio guy, Ohio State guy. He's best friends with my linebacker coach Luke Fickell, and Luke still coaches at Ohio State, so I've known Vrabel forever. We went to a Toby Keith concert with him when I was in college, and like we just known him forever because he would always come around and run with us in the summers at Ohio State. But what an awesome character. He's hilarious, man. He's like the old school funny guy. He's gonna come around and tell stories. He's gonna work out with you, and he's just gonna be like just the dude that'll sit there and mess with everybody and busting everybody's balls, but everyone still respects him and you like him for it.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell that even the guy that he rode the hardest, so I don't remember, but he rode one dude really hard. Mm-hmm. That guy, even in one of those interviews afterwards, was like, I appreciate what he's saying. I know he's right about this and that. He still loved the dude, even though Vrabel was in his ass, man. Really lighting him up, man.
He respected him, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely respected him.
What were you saying? You say those shows, or what? What do you think of Hard Knocks?
I mean, it's super entertaining. Sometimes, I won't be into one of the storylines or some of the way that it's cut. I know they're making a show, but I think for fans, it's really fun access. You get emotional with some of the storylines too. With as far as like the guys that are, it's always like the undrafted guy or the 6th round pick, and you see him busting his butt, and those cuts, man, they're just they're crazy to watch, man. He's like, yeah, send him in. We're gonna right away. They're like, we're gonna let you go. Jesus.
Yeah, this dude's his whole life just ended basically, and you're filming the whole thing. Yeah.
See, we're gonna let you go, and oh shit, it's immediate.
How do you not cry in that situation?
Man, it's brutal. I mean,
sometimes they do, I guess.
They do. They've cried in that before. I mean, I remember the Ocho Cinco one when he was in Miami. That was.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's not the same thing. I'm saying that you could see how emotional he was about it happening. He was, but it's great. It's a great show, man. There's this belief that there's a curse, right? Is that something you guys?
Is there for Hard Knocks even? I thought it was just for the Madden cover.
I think there's a Hard Knocks curse too, for sure.
Oh, I don't know. I
Yeah.
know there's like a weird. I don't know. There's only certain teams that are eligible for Hard Knocks now. Like I don't know, something about not making the playoffs and record where because they can't come to the Patriots and be like, hey, we're you're on Hard Knocks next year because they don't want it. And
Yeah.
so you have to you can be exempt if you win a certain amount, like where they can't make you have Hard Knocks.
Oh, if you win a certain amount?
Yeah, like there's certain teams that want to have the cameras there, but there's most coaches probably don't want them there.
Oh, sure.
Most owners, I bet, do. They want the cameras because it brings a lot of attention to your team.
Sure.
But I think if you've made the playoffs the previous year, you can opt out. I'll kind of I'm not sure exactly.
What's his name? O'Brien, the Texans coach. Is that his name? He was great.
I heard he came across as a really good dude.
Yeah, and he cursed a lot, which I really appreciate. I like coaches that curse a lot. I find it entertaining and amusing. I don't know. To me, it feels authentic. Maybe it's because I had coaches growing up like that, so there's a bit of nostalgia to it. I find them more affectionate actually than straight-laced coaches. I kind of they might be good guys, but they don't make me comfortable. I'm much more drawn to a really animated coach that screams and curses a lot.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more fun to watch, more fun to play for too. I'm sure. I think.
Yeah, you end up being you're passionate for them, right?
100%, and when they're gonna kill you when you do something wrong, but when you do something right, it feels that much better.
Yeah.
Because if you see a guy so pumped and he's jumping and hitting you in the head and he's spitting dip on you and stuff, you're gonna feel pretty good about yourself after that one. And everyone's had coaches probably like that, or hopefully they've had coaches like that where you're basically scared. You make a play or you don't make a play, something happens, and you're like, oh, and you're instantly scared to death. Like this guy's gonna kill me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's happened to anybody.
The long jog back to the sideline, the wide jog back. Maybe I can avoid him, and then you hear, "What the fuck was that?"
Yep, you got to put your head down and run to the other side, try to get away, act like you can't see him.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what happened, coach. Yeah.
What are you gonna do with your little boy? Have you thought about the whole deal if you're gonna let him play football?
Oh yeah, it's funny, man. I never thought that would be a real concern. It's really weird that it's so in the wheelhouse of public consciousness now. It's all people talk about. It's the concussion movie. I don't know how many HBO profiles, ESPN. Do you guys talk about it a lot as players? Has it become a bigger thing?
It's more outside of the locker room. Did you see the movie Concussion?
Nah,
I didn't either.
But I mean, even that, that 49er, I was talking about it today. Chris Borland, I think was his name.
Yeah, he's an Ohio kid too.
Yeah, he played a season. They're like, you're legit. You're going to be good. I'm done. It was weird that I think the same time Patrick Willis retired, and he definitely had years left in him for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you just see it more and more, and then I don't know, man. I'm totally convinced of this. I mean, everyone has their own opinion. As somebody that didn't play high level football, I don't think that there's that much of a concern at Pee-wee level and high school. Now, I know just saying that I could probably invite 1 million emails from people like, look at this data and look at these stats and let me tell you about my cousin or whatever. But what I'm saying is that, in my opinion and in my experience, I feel like the real concern, the threat, exists at the level where guys are bigger and faster and stronger. And, most 5th and 6th graders are not lighting people up. And, I'm sure there's some, but you don't even see that much aggression really, even at that age. So I don't feel like that's a big deal. I guess I don't think I would stop my kid from doing it, but I think the conversation's more at college and your level where it's it's at least something you got to think about or discuss.
Yeah, now it's definitely something I guess you have to think about. I don't know if you saw Antoine Randall just recently came out Do you see? And he said something like, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't play football.
Yeah, I didn't. Someone told me about it today, and I made jokes that I feel bad about now. But
No, you can make jokes. Anything is on board. Did I tell you the guy that opened up for, I'll get back to Antoine, but the guy that opened up for Stanhope when I saw him, the joke he made about me?
no,
Oh, God, I was dying. I almost gave him a standing O, and I probably should have been offended. So his feature, I guess, we talked about it last time, I think. Was it feature? Is that the middle guy?
yeah, the middle guy.
The feature, forget his name right now. And he said, "Hey, I heard there's a Packers player." It was when I was in Green Bay. There's a Packers player here. Now I didn't say anything. I was like, I don't want to stand up in a comedy club. You're kidding me? So I was just sitting in the back, like, nope. And then my buddy was with me. I was like, don't you dare if you say anything, I'll kill you. And so he's like, come on, what? And he looked around, and no one knew. Like, no one had any idea. He's like, oh, I heard AJ Hawk's here, and he's like, and they're like, no one knew. And he said, what? I just want to get my picture of him before he blows his head off. And this was like shortly just after like Junior Seau had committed suicide, I think. Yeah. And he's like, and everyone's like, oh, and they like groaned or whatever. And then I saw him afterwards. I got to meet Stanhope, and then this guy quickly, he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I was like, honestly, man, that was the hardest I laughed all night. I was great material. I loved it. Like, I applauded him for that effort.
Yeah. It's a funny joke, man. I mean, it's a joke, so it's.
Exactly.
It is, yeah. Wait, do you have concerns about your kids playing, though, at all, or no?
No, I will definitely let my kids play. The only thing I ever talk about, like, I just don't think little kids, like 5th and 6th grade, should be hitting in practice all the time. Like, I don't see any reason for that. It's dumb. They're developing. We know their brain's developing. Like, why? Who cares? Like, just let them hit. They can hit in the games all you want, but don't be banging on them in practice. That's just unnecessary.
I feel like too that because of all the the information now that you see almost at every level, less contact when it's not necessary, right? Like there's a lot of non-contact. I know in high schools that do it. I know that some colleges there's like no contact XYZ days. They try to minimize it and then just let people have a little bit and then light it up on game day.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I don't know if there's certain states that have some different laws that have been passed now. I think California has some of the best, I think, for keeping kids out of contact in practice. Yeah. College, I don't know. I think 2-a-days are like you can't do 2-a-days in a row. I don't know if they can wear pads on one day or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely going in the right direction for that. But I mean,
what is your guys' contact like?
Now, like in the league, you mean? So with our new CBA that they signed in 2011, during the season, you're only allowed to wear pads, like full pads, 1 day a week, which most coaches, you wouldn't wear more than 1 day during the week. Like your big practice days are basically Wednesday and Thursday. And so you can wear pads one of those 2 days. Those are like your big full, like long practices, long days. And then Friday's a little bit dialed back and Saturday's, even more. So we used to, every once in a while, you would wear pads on Wednesday and Thursday. Now you just wear them 1 day a week. So
are you off? What's your off day? Tuesday?
Tuesday, yep, Tuesday.
Wow. Are you, by the way, are you related to Nick Hawk, the prostitute on the Gigolos?
Yes, my brother.
That's your brother?
No, I wish I would. No, who is he? I don't know. What is he?
There's a show called Gigolos on Showtime. It's a reality show.
Yeah,
these male escorts.
Oh.
And one's name is Nick Hawk.
Does he look like me?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah.
No, it's like you sure it's not Mike Hawk? I have a brother Mike or a cousin Mike Hawk.
Is he a prostitute?
I don't know. Can you say his name 3 times fast and let me know?
Mike Hawk.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Mike Hawk.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my wrestling name when I go into WWE. No, I'm not related to him either. Nick Hawk, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I might have to check him out, man. I'm not related. Did you really think I was though?
No, I was actually thinking about the fact, like, your name was written down. I was like, man, you have like almost like a superhero name. It's like a Mission Impossible style name. It's kind of crazy, right? Did you like it as a kid? Seems like as a kid,
like my full name, like AJ Hawk.
Yeah.
Oh, I never really thought about it.
Right.
What's that?
Hawk sounds like a pretty cool last name.
Now that I think about it, for sure, because I started to look around at different people. When like friends, like my wife's friends would get married, and they'd be like, "Oh, what's her what's her husband's? What name is she taking? And it's like terrible, something just
Terrible,
horrendous. I'm like, man, you got to be you're so lucky. I'll tell my wife that. So
I remember. I always think about like FSU guy named Dakota Fag.
yeah,
That sucks, man.
that's a rough one.
That'd be like I'm gonna take my wife's name from now on, you know?
Well, what is is it a volleyball or basketball player? Her last name's Hooker. I think
don't
it's
remember.
a basketball player, and she's like, I think people were telling her to like change it or do something or go by her middle name, and she's like, nah, she's stuck. I give her credit; she's stuck with it and kept it on her back of her jersey and everything. And Hooker, like the strip club beef.
Man, come on. Hooker is not a name you want to keep on the back of your jersey, especially if you're a lady.
I mean, every single game I would go to, I'd be like, once you have to take your warm up off after you're doing like your layup lines for introductions, I'd be like, oh man, like there's no time that would never just like leave your mind. You would know for sure, like, oh, here we go again.
It's still funny probably to you. I mean, I don't know to you guys, but I'm so childish that even when I see the last name Gay on the field in the NFL, I'm still like, his last name's Gay. Like I'm a fucking 8-year-old.
Oh, but trust me, you're not the only one laughing at that. Yeah, I mean, it's you're right. I mean, do you say your last name Segura or Segura?
It's funny you ask actually, because the name is pretty straightforward. It's supposed to be pronounced phonetically, which is Segura, but my father and his father pronounced it Segura.
Segura.
And I was like, I talked to him one time because it's a Spanish name, and my mother is Spanish speaking, so we speak Spanish at home. He doesn't speak Spanish, but everybody else does.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
So you're fluent?
Yeah, pretty fluent. I mean, my mom, English is her second language, and then I spent time in Peru as a kid. And
so did you just learn it, or from being around her, or how'd that work?
It's from being around. It's from just speaking it. Like she spoke so much Spanish that you kind of pick it up, and then when you go abroad and you're young, you pick it up even more. So I was like, dude, you're not even saying your own last name right to my dad. He's like, you can say your last name however you want. And I go, yeah, but you're saying it wrong. It's not like it'd be like if your dad was like, it's Hawk.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. And he's like, well, I'll say my last name how I want to. And you're like, all right, no argument there, but just know that you're fucking up. Like you're not doing it correct. It's an actual word that's in the Spanish vocabulary. So you don't get to choose how it's pronounced, but he's convinced that you do. So he says Segura.
He's still, so like to this day, that's how he introduces himself?
To this day, he's Segura, and I'm Segura. So, yeah.
What's your dad's first name?
Tom. But I'm not a junior because we have different middle names.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I love when you have every once in a while you'll record like a conversation with your dad, won't you, and play it on the podcast? Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Like when you came out, you were poly and you were bi?
Yeah.
I heard that one.
That was really fun because that was really on the fly. Sometimes I call him and then I drop it in the show later. Mm-hmm. But that one was, we were talking about that show, another Showtime show called Polyamorous, where people were like saying, I'm poly and I'm bi. They're polyamorous and bisexual. So I just called my dad on the fly. He answers, I go, hey, I'm poly and I'm bi. He's like, what's that? I go, I'm poly and I'm bi. He's like, takes a beat and he goes, all right, buddy. A little backdoor action for you. Okay. He rolled right with it.
Oh, God. So does he just know like anything is fair game that you could make public, or do you make him aware before you record him?
No, because I figured out something doing this is, we just recorded episode 327, right? And you learn a little bit over the course of doing that. And one thing I learned about him is there's a lot of people like this. He's much funnier when he's not aware of himself, Mm-hmm. So for a minute when I started, he was really funny. And then I go, I'm going to call you tomorrow. Let's have a conversation. And I swear he had notes. And he was like riffing and like, trying to like, he would go, do you ever think about, he was doing his open mic shit. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. You ever think about why people want to, all these horrific setups. And so after he did that a couple times, I got another line and I called from that line that it recorded. And he answered at work and he was hilarious again because he wasn't trying to be funny. And so that's how I get him now. I just call, because we talk all the time, we talk every day. And just sometimes I'll just call him and, it's either gold or it isn't, but it's much more likely to be gold if he doesn't prepare for it.
He doesn't know it's coming. Yeah, I mean, what's with airplanes these days? See that going into bits?
Dude, he was like, I'm at the grocery store and there's one line open. There's one cashier and there's 10 people waiting in line. You ever notice that? I said, yeah. Why is that? I go, is this supposed to be a fucking humorous observation that there's one cashier? I'm just thinking of things. I go, stop, please stop.
Oh, that's beautiful. What's he do for a living, or what did he do?
He still works, but he's winding down. He worked in finance and banking and stuff, so very corporate. And he said there's people at his office, like younger people, will come up to him and be like, "Are you on the podcast?" And he's like, "Do me a favor and don't tell me." And they're like, "No, I won't tell anybody." But that's crazy because he has this very straight-laced, image at work. It's finance, so it's all suits and ties and numbers. And then he's on my show. He's like, took a great big shit right now. I had to use my underwear to wipe. I don't know how it would play at the office if they all heard it.
Yeah, I could definitely see the that would be kind of weird for him for sure, man. Having to deal with that. Does he give you notes and stuff ever? Like say you watch this new special, obviously, did he ever like get you notes or call you about it?
He's very prideful, so he's he'll call and he'll be like, he'll text me a line or he'll say, I got to tell you my favorite parts. He'll do that kind of thing. So he tells me, he likes to tell me when people come up to him. Guy came up to me today, said he saw your special, or I used my credit card somewhere today and they said, do you know there's a comedian with your name? And he was like, that's my boy. So he likes that kind of stuff. He doesn't really pitch jokes, thank Christ. But, he will do things like, what your best joke was? And it'll be like a 15-year-old joke or something like that. And I go, yeah, you don't think any of my new stuff's better than that? And he's like, no, that was your best one. Thanks, Dad.
You need to work that back into your hour.
Yeah. I'm like, great.
Oh man, so I always wonder about this whole Netflix model. So Netflix is awesome, by the way. Yeah. I know you've said positive things about them. What's that?
They went global a week ago. So
really?
They were in a few, different countries and territories, and then they added, I forget, more than couple dozen countries. So it's in South America and different countries there. They added it to Nigeria and all kinds of African countries. It's global now. So,
well, I mean that can't be anything. I mean that's unbelievable for you, especially with all these accents you're picking up on your podcast that you've been doing.
I mean, as a gifted master of accents, I'm lucky enough where I'll be able to do a world tour and just amuse people with how I'm basically a mirror of them, whatever I hear. It's pretty lucky.
This is good. It's been a theme over the last couple of podcasts that you just really. One of my favorite parts is that your wife Christina, who's a great comic herself, is like genuinely super amused by it.
It's why I do it, man. She I was listening to the one that just went up, and it made the hardest that I laugh in listening to that part was her just go, I'm doing an accent, and she goes, wow. It's like I'm talking to somebody from Thailand. Like the way that she responds is what makes me laugh the most. Yeah,
that's partly what makes it really, really, really funny is because how your guys' little dynamic you have, because she sarcastically pumps you up to do it, and like will put you onto these new, like, well, what about what would
Danish?
Yeah, like she'll just give you,
Yeah.
and then you'll be explaining to her the difference. No, this was Japanese. This one was Chinese. This one was Filipino. Like,
Yeah.
and then how like she just rolls with it. It reminds me of. It honestly reminds me of how Anthony Cumia used to go with Jim Norton's characters with like Chip Chipperson. I don't know if you're. I hope you're. Are you aware of all Jim's characters?
I'm actually not aware. I mean, I was a guest on the show not too long ago, and I just don't. I only don't know because I'm not really. I don't know, in the car or listening to radio that often. I mean, I know obviously those guys and what they did and what they do, but I'm not aware of all the characters.
Oh yeah, Jim has the characters are so absurd. Yeah, you can't explain it. If you try to explain them to people that don't know, it's like it's not funny at all. You got to just know it, and it's great. But yeah, how they like riff back and forth and go with it reminds me of how Christina goes with obviously a lot of your stuff, and then but your accents, especially when you go into them, how she'll just it's great. It's great comedy. Your Mom's House for everybody that doesn't listen.
Yeah. So did you listen to their recent big fight on the air?
Jimmy and Opie.
Yeah,
man, it was really weird. It was awkward.
Somebody sent me a YouTube link, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Wasn't it awkward?
It was compelling.
Very much. I give Jimmy a lot of credit. Jimmy, like he's really, I don't know. He like, plays both sides, and like he really puts it all out there. He doesn't like try to hide from anything on when he gets in arguments, especially or like debates.
One thing I did like is that totally removing, the fact that it's a popular show, there's comedians or celebrities. The big thing that highlighted to me was how important communication is in any relationship. It doesn't matter if it's a working relationship, a romantic relationship, a friendship. That whole thing to me, just listening to, not knowing anything really before or even after. I don't know what the next days were like, but when I listened to that, I just thought, wow, this is just great exercise for people to listen to and realize that you gotta share what's going on. You gotta
tell them how you feel. Tell you why. That was the whole argument was about like, just how they didn't tell each other how it made them feel, and they were both like so flabbergasted with like why would you ever think that like, and they say, well, that's just how I felt with how you were treating me or how you were responding to what I was saying. So like, don't you ever have that with? I mean, you and your wife are very open on the air on your podcast. Like, how do you guys take that? So you have scheduled days when you go record podcasts, is that right?
Yeah. Now, we used to do it more casually, but now it's scheduled on Mondays.
What if like you guys get in like a weird argument on the way to record?
No, we don't record.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we would work out. We've had you work it out first, and we both see shrinks every week, which is like probably like the greatest thing that she got me into. I never realized how much I would like it, and I've become a much better communicator since I've seen a therapist.
Separately or together?
Separately.
Okay.
Like she started going to one, she loved it, and I saw how much she loved it, and I was like, I want to go to one. So I started going to one a couple years ago. I feel like I've just become a much better communicator. And what you're talking, I don't really, we're like any other couple, so we've had, arguments and everything in that. But I realized that it helped me, I think, to communicate better in a couple of friendships. There was a friendship that until recently I thought was kind of done. And then it really was just about having a conversation. It's really weird how that can happen. And like laying things out in a conversation, and you go, oh, well, kind of wish you had said this about 9 months ago, and then I wish I had opened up too. But then, things, they get better when you do communicate.
How does that work, seeing like a therapist? Is it like in a TV show or a movie where you walk in and some dude or some lady's sitting there, and what do they just ask you, how do you feel today?
Yeah, it really is that. I mean, you sit in a room. Somebody told me once that it's like a trainer for your brain, which I kind of think is a good analogy for it. It's like going to see your personal trainer. It really is like some days you go in and you got nothing, and you're like, what's up? And you're like, I don't know, nice shoes, whatever. You have nothing really to say. Some days you go in, you go, I just fucking talked to my mom, and she said blah 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 blah. I can't believe this, and this guy did this, and I feel so anxious about. And then what a lot of times you don't realize what they're doing is they're helping you connect dots. Like they have an amazing capacity. I mean, they take their notes, but they get to know you so well that you bring something up and then they go, well, have you ever thought about that maybe that has to do with this? And then all of a sudden your brain goes like, no, I never thought of that. And it ties it all together and you leave there feeling so relieved, like it's great mental relief to bounce something off of somebody that isn't, there's no, they don't have any stakes in like you as a friend or in a relationship. They're just there to kind of help you alleviate whatever you're thinking about. I don't know. I've really enjoyed it. I did hypnosis a couple weeks ago for the first time. I really enjoyed that. But
were you like legit hypnotized?
Yeah, definitely.
Were you trying to get off smoking cigs or something, or you just went
nail biting?
Really?
Yeah.
And it worked?
Well, it's not. I'm not cured, but it's definitely a progression. It's definitely better.
Man, I've never been to either of those. But so your therapist, do you ever feel weird being the fact that you are a celebrity and you are a public figure, like spilling all this stuff to them?
I think it's more sometimes you feel weird at the beginning sharing, it takes a while, I think, to share deeply personal things, but it's just something you end up doing, she, a year after I saw her, goes, "Oh, I finally Googled your name."
Really?
She had no, I mean, she was like, "Oh, I saw something online. It was very funny." And I go, "Oh, okay, thanks." She goes, and that was it. Like she's definitely not impressed or interested in any of that stuff. So she's like, just doing her thing. But I think it's a great tool. I look forward to it sometimes, especially if you have stress or anxiety or, like even like I'm talking about the friend. It's like I got to address that before my conversation with my friend and then afterwards. And it was great, both a great preparation for it and then a great, like post game thing, to do also. It was very relieving to do.
Did you reach out to the friend first, or did they come to you?
I reached out a couple times, but then my friend eventually made, I would say, more of an effort to get finally in touch with me. I thought he was avoiding me, and again, it was all just like communication stuff. But that's the funny thing is, your mind, when you're not communicating well with somebody, can create its own storylines. You go, well, the reason we're not communicating, and the more you do that, you realize you can go a lot of different places with that. You start making shit up basically.
And in reality, it usually happens, I feel like, with people that aren't even, like, you're not even maybe that close with, but if you feel like someone like ignored you or, oh, they're whatever, I'm like, no, they literally don't care. They don't even know anything. They're in their own world. Everyone's living their own world and they're not worried about you. And that's not a bad thing. It's just what everyone's doing.
That's really the truth. And I definitely I've talked about that before, where you go like, why did this person totally ignored me? And it's like, that person may have just, been thinking about the text they just got. They don't give a shit. They're not trying to be a dick to you. But you almost have to like reprogram your thinking sometimes, to get to that point.
Yeah. Have you and your wife ever thought about going in together and like sitting down together and talking to somebody?
Well, no, not really. I mean, I don't know if that's even, I think we both enjoy what we do separately. The couples thing, I don't really feel like would be maybe for us, because I don't feel like there's really a struggle in that right now. I'm not opposed to the idea of ever doing it, but I just don't feel like it's something we need for our relationship,
I had a buddy that did it with his wife a while back, and he was telling me how he loved it because I guess him and his wife, they seemed fine, but I could definitely see how they could have some communication issues. He was saying how he loved it because this lady therapist would make his wife understand, like, well, no, this is how your husband, his brain is working. This is like, he's just a meathead, savage idiot, and this is how he views this situation. So this is why he like responds this way. And so it like opened his wife's eyes up. She's like, "Oh, really?" I think it's like, so it just let them see how the other person views like what's going on.
But see, yeah, that is the point that you said about when she said, "Oh, really?" That's what you sometimes end up doing about yourself when you're one on one. It's not even, you don't even see that as something that's going to happen. You're literally just talking to your therapist. If it's a good therapist who really knows, talk therapy, there's things you don't realize it's happening. You start talking, you're talking, and then all of a sudden your therapist says something, you're like, like you're like, I've never put that thought together before. Like, and it's almost so obvious to you sometimes, but the way that they present it, it just opens, and then that's how you get addicted to it. You're like, I want to go again. Because your therapist is essentially, teaching you about how your mind works in a way, and you don't have to go in there with trauma. I mean, you can obviously, but you can go in there like, oh no, things are pretty good, and still have, I think, a really, really beneficial time in there.
What happens if you're right in the middle of, or right in the heart of something pretty serious, and your time is up?
That that has happened, but usually, I mean, she's not cold as ice. Like, wrap it up.
You're sitting there, you're crying in the fetal position. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story, but we really got to go. No, I've had like, I've seen her bump it a few minutes to kind of get something out. And there's times definitely where I've been like, can we just make this another session right now? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. But that's actually good because you end up processing more when you dip out, You're there. If it's intense, you leave, you think about it more, and then it benefits you,
That's interesting, man. I think it's like when we hear, us normal people back here not living in Hollywood, we hear about a lot of times all these, well, like you hear about celebrities and actors and actresses, they talk about comedians a lot of times, they talk about like going to see their therapist and talking to people.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like everybody's seeing, even like people, I don't know if Tom Hanks does or not. I feel like a guy like him, even that he's like, oh, I got to go talk to my shrink 3 times a week to keep me normal.
Yeah.
Like, do you think people out there or just people that are in the public eye are just more, they're not scared to announce it to people, and a lot of people are seeing these people?
I mean, I think a lot of people are seeing this, and I think there's, there is this weird kind of stigma where people go like, you're seeing like, what's going on? And you're like, I don't know, man. It's just, to me, it's so natural now, but I don't think it's that crazy that people react that way. A lot of performers are super neurotic, super anxious. So there's a benefit to them if you're like that, to see someone that kind of deals with your neuroses or your anxiety. But I'm telling you, man, like, as a Midwestern guy, I really would encourage people to do it like almost as an experiment, because of how enjoyable it is. It's not quacky, weird shit. It really is somebody kind of holding up a mirror of your thoughts and pointing things out. I find it super beneficial.
What's your dad think of it?
Well, I mean, if that's what you like, buddy, I mean, I think that's great. That kind of thing. He's like, mm-hmm.
You should ask him.
He definitely thinks it's for,
Oh, you're messed up. I don't need that kind of stuff. You guys are, weak people. You people are messed up.
Oh, that's what you like, buddy. I mean, I think he thinks, why? Like, what's your problem? Or if I would have been like, you should go, he'd be like, for what? Everything's great. Like, he's kind of like that, So I get it. It's not for everyone, but my whole thing is just that, I just enjoyed it, man. It's just good. It's a good time.
That's cool, man. I think it's cool that you're honest about it as well, and open. I think I've always say it's good for people to talk to people, and everyone needs someone to listen to them.
Well, if you think about it too, most people, if they go like, well, let's say you're really open and honest to somebody in your life. For the most part, if you're really spilling your deepest thoughts, it's going to be to somebody who, it's spouse, it's your friend, it's your parents. It's like, do you want to be able to open up to a professional who, doesn't personally have a role in your life, like is not part of your circle? It can feel good to do that sometimes too.
For sure, you can. I think it's a reason. Well, it's a reason people see guys go see like prostitutes instead of some random Tinder girl, because they can trust the prostitute.
Right.
She's a pro. She's not gonna tell their girlfriend or wife, and some Tinder girl is gonna get mad if they don't call her back.
And some Tinder girl's going to post a picture of her with Julian Endelman in bed right after the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know how that really ties together the whole therapist angle, but I feel like that's why guys do the whole.
How popular is in the league, or is it guys seeing hookers?
Probably back in the day it was a little bit more. I think honestly, now with Tinder and stuff, that is what is on fire.
Oh yeah, I've been talking about Throatzilla I talked about it on my show.
Did you have her on?
I had her on. Yeah. We had her on our podcast.
Could you explain who she is to the one or two people on Earth that don't know who this person is?
Sure. So I'm doing my best to introduce her to everybody that I can. So Throatzilla is an escort who provides. Her specializes in oral sex. And she's really good at it. And there's videos of her that verify that she's really good at it. And she lives in the Dallas area, and she has had, a number of relations with professional athletes. And there's a particular professional athlete who would have been a first-round pick if he didn't have some troubles that he ended up being cleared of. And this current cowboy agreed to hire her to perform her services, and then after the fact was like, I only got $100 on me. So she decided to put him on blast, as the kids say, and she announced to the world that this man, whom she performed many oral, favors on, didn't pay her, and she told the world what she did to him. So she has a Snapchat that's really fun to follow, where she films herself getting fast food and going to Cowboys games, and then sometimes performing oral sex.
Oh goodness, I didn't know about the Snapchat.
It's pretty intense. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And you don't have to. You don't even. This is pretty public, isn't it? You don't have to say allegedly. You didn't mention the guy's name even, but
I mentioned it today on another podcast. Okay. I just kept it off of yours.
That's good. Perfect. Thank you. That's perfect for what people search anyway.
Yeah.
I was made aware of it honestly through listening to you. So I wonder who squashed that. Like, no one squashed it, but why it wasn't a bigger story?
I don't know. It definitely made it to like the the sports blogs and the gossip blogs. She made it. She said that after she did that I think his agents and handlers were coming after her, and she was just like, "Look, I'm honest about what happened. I did this."
He didn't pay her what she thought she deserved to be paid.
They had an agreed upon amount, according to her.
Okay.
And then she was like, okay, he was like, I got $100. And she was like, no. Which you realize that this dude he cost himself all this heartache and all this public humiliation, probably over $300 or $400 that he didn't feel like coughing up. $300 or $400 to, a guy that's at least making whatever, like around $500,000. So, you don't want to spend $400 to handle that situation.
Well, it's like the whole Warren Sapp situation last year after the Super Bowl. Remember, he got arrested. He had a couple prostitutes in his room, and the reason they were reported him is because he didn't want to pay the one like $300 or something.
Dude,
like that. I was like, really? Are you sure these are the girls that you want to, not give them the money that you guys agreed upon, or you felt like you were getting ripped off by $100 or something? Like, I don't think these are the girls you want on your bad side.
Tip her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, here's an extra $100.
Like,
You
if anything else, that seemed like pretty much common sense to me.
know? For
Like,
sure, man.
don't mess with people that have nothing to lose right there. I mean,
Exactly. That was just that was so dumb of him to do that, man. Hey, let me ask you a money question. You're,
gladly.
I don't remember if I asked you before because I don't remember if I did. But when you come into the league, what are you, 22, 23?
Usually, I was 22, yeah.
And you get your first check. It has your signing bonus, right? Like your first, I'm saying you're a rookie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you just go to like Bank of America and deposit your check?
No, I went to one of those check cashing places. They only took like 40%.
What?
Yeah, you go to like the check and go or whatever.
Yeah.
I went there and they, I wanted to get that. I didn't have a bank account, so I just let them cash it for me. I'm joking. I'm joking, Tom. No way. Come on, man.
Well, no, because
that's happened though.
Bart Scott said he did that.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh God. See, no. I
Ravens check to a check cashing place.
Ooh.
Yeah.
No. Luckily, I'd already had before I signed I signed my rookie deal like the first day of training camp. Basically, is when you do it. So in August or very end of July, I was already with my financial financial guys that you have, and so it was direct deposited to them.
But did you interview people to do it? You know what I mean? Like, did you?
Oh yeah, to be your financial guy.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of shady dudes that have taken a lot of money from people. Mine's like a whole team of guys that, like I say all the time, they can piss on my money. My money's nothing to them. Like they're not banking on me, signing another 2-year deal for those guys to hit their commissions or anything. They got guys with tons more money than me that they're managing. So for me, I'm just happy they take my money.
And you knew that they were with other athletes and stuff? Is that what you did?
They have some other athletes. Yeah, they've gotten more athletes, but they're real, they're even selective about the athletes they will take too, which I liked a lot. They do their background like, well, we don't want to sign a guy that we know is going to blow all his money. Like that's not going to do anything for us.
Right.
So they were selective, and yeah, I got real lucky, man. My dad actually went and went around I say all the time, like that's probably the best decision that I made was the financial people I went with straight out of college, because my dad was, he's real detail oriented and professional, and he went around and talked to and interviewed multiple different groups. And then there's some guys that are like singular, just financial guys.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I've seen those guys, take a lot of money from people or lose a lot of money from people because they want to be too risky.
Did you get guidance as far were they like, hey man, like you should budget like this every month? Like that kind of, you're a young kid.
Oh yeah. I think my wife and I we were very aware of it at the time, but we definitely talked to them and they would let you know. And every single dime that is spent, I see instantly on my phone too. So like I know, and then you get detailed reports and you know exactly how much you're spending every month and the year. You're looking at where everything is. So I pay a lot of attention to it. A lot of guys don't pay their bills. They don't do anything. Like I know how to write a check. I pay my bills. I do everything. Like, so yeah, I'm very aware of it though.
Yeah. I always wonder. I mean, I watched that. You hear the stories. I saw the documentary that Billy Corben did called Broke, and all these stories. You're like, man, I always feel bad for guys that are. I mean, at this, now that I'm older too, I'm like, oh, that's just a kid. Like he's, 23 years old or whatever, 22, and they're like, here's $8 million, and then and they're like 3 years in the league, and they're like, yeah, man, I'm just trying to get by. You're like, what? And then, you realize though at this age, I'm like, well, I make a decent living, but I also have a lot of experience of adulthood, to not go crazy or whatever. So you're more prepared, I think, for money when you're older now. And it took age to have that perspective, where I go, oh, like I wonder how these guys even prepare for that.
Oh, I don't think there's any way to really prepare for it, especially when it's public and all of your family and friends are coming after you right away because they know exactly what you got paid.
What was that like? What about like people hitting you? Is it straight up? They're like, "What's up, dude?"
See, I am super rare and lucky that I didn't really have much of that at all. Honestly, no joke. Like my family was all like, they do well, and they're too proud to ever want anything or ask for anything from me.
You gift people sometimes, I bet, right?
Yeah, but like not if I like tried to gift, what is it? You can gift like $16,000 a year to somebody, I think, without paying the taxes
I
on
think
it.
it's 18, yeah.
Is it 18? Yeah. So like, no, man, I don't. And people in my family, I haven't done that. Like we more have like done things anonymously, taking care of people that have taken care of us over the years. If something happened, funeral or whatever, like we do stuff like that. But I've never like gifted like large amounts of money to people like that. I haven't had to.
You have people be like, "Yo, man, I got shoes that have umbrellas on them, and I'm just in the beginning stages. Can you?"
Yes.
Really?
Oh my God, man! You kidding me? Maybe I talked about this with you or not. Like car washes, athletes love car washes. They all want to run. They all think, oh man, I got this real estate deal. Y'all, buy this land. We're gonna buy all this land, and people are gonna buy. I'm like, bro, you have no idea what you're talking about.
That's the main thing. That's the main thing, man. Is
Yeah.
you got to have an idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you don't. You're 23 years old, and you got an account on LoopNet, and you're gonna tell me that you can real estate? Like, come on now. You know what LoopNet is?
No, but it's just funny to be like, you have an account on LoopNet.
Well, LoopNet, see, I know because LoopNet is like commercial real estate. It's like Zillow for commercial real estate. You know what Zillow is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like these guys will troll LoopNet and find apartment buildings for sale, and then send me an email with a link and tell me that we're gonna kill it.
We're gonna kill it, man.
If I buy it, like, oh, cool. What is? 10 mil? Yeah, here you go. Where did I sign?
I heard Damon Wayans one time say, I did a show in Burbank, and he was on stage, and he goes, "Man, people have a lot of great ideas for my money." It's like they always have fantastic ideas for my money, and I'm like, "How about your money?" They're like, "No, this is idea for your money."
It's so true.
Yeah,
it's a thing, man. That guy's got to deal with. It's so brutal. I know how lucky I am, man.
that's awesome.
I know we've gone long, but quickly about the Netflix thing. I just want to how do you? So this newest special. How do you go about the filming? So did you know going into this special, mostly stories that's on Netflix now for everybody? It's awesome. Did you know going in to film it? Does Netflix cover the whole production of the filming?
What they do, there's different deal models. Mm-hmm. So one of them, like I did my first one called Completely Normal in 2014, and that one was a production company paid for it. They paid me a little bit of money, and then I own a percentage of it, and then we go to license it. So what happens is after it's all cut, they send a copy of it. I'm telling you the first model, okay?
Yeah.
They send them a copy to HBO, Showtime, Comedy Central, Netflix, everybody. And then you kind of can take bids or see who's interested. So Netflix licensed that one in 2014, okay? So they basically say, here's money, we get to air it. And then you can also license it other places. So we could license it to airlines to play like on the United flights from Chicago to the Philippines. And you could license it to, whatever, any number of different people. And there's, different terms for each agreement. The new one is a Netflix original. And what that deal was I did the hour they came to a show where I did it. And then they agreed to make it an original. So they give you a bulk amount of money. They go like, here's X amount of dollars. You pay for the production out of this amount of money, but you also keep whatever you don't spend on the production, if that makes sense. And it's enough where you can definitely keep some money. But the whole thing about specials is you really make your money off of the success of the special. So like even though it's great to pocket some money for shooting it, mm-hmm. it's that it should influence your road business, and that's where you make your money.
Okay. So it's like musicians putting out a new album. Well, they tour for the album though.
Yeah. I mean, but it's kind of like that. I mean, it's a similar model. I mean, the difference is in comedy, people want to make sure you have new shit to say.
Yeah.
Or for the most part,
Okay.
That's really how you benefit from a special. Is you make some money doing it, but if it increases your profile and you can go and sell more tickets, you're putting more money in your pocket that way.
Okay, so is there any way to get like bonuses if it gets a certain amount of views?
No, nothing like that. It's just, the goal would be that it just would increase the amount of people that want to see you do stand up live.
Okay, and so you would hope it would do well, so then maybe they'll come to you for your next special.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to be just the place to be right now. This is kind of one of those things that's always adjusting and moving. But I think as a stand up, there's no better place to be right now. There's so many people have Netflix.
Yeah.
It's upwards of 80 million, and it's on demand, so you really can't beat that because people discover you daily, hourly, weekly. It's had a huge influence on my career. I mean, I'm selling more tickets than I ever have, and it's directly related to having a couple specials on Netflix.
Man, that's great. I love hearing about like that, how it works. Because do they ever give you an idea of numbers on how it does? Like maybe compared to anything else, they won't do that.
100% no. They keep that super internal. They don't even give you a hint. It's what they don't have to, so they don't do it, and it provides them with all of their leverage. Like they know what they want to do with it. The most I've ever heard from them was, "It's great. It's doing really well." Like that. I got an email like that. Like it's doing really well. I'm like, how well? Good job. Bye. They don't tell you anything. I had dinner with a bunch of Netflix executives, and I was trying to get intel on other shows. I'm like, so between like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, and I was like, what? Like, I know you're not going to tell me numbers, but like, and they would just like take bites of their food and go like, and I was like, nothing, and they're like, we're not going to say anything. So I guess it's really important to them that they share none of that, and they don't.
It's smart by them, I think. It does. It gives them the leverage to not
Absolutely.
If you don't know, and it is the place to be. But what they need to do if they want to pump it up. I know they have all this algorithms that like suggest shows on what you may like depending on your viewing history. Like that's what they need is for mostly stories to pop up like in the home screen of suggestions for you.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's it's been on the trending stuff. It's been they've advertised it. That's the thing that's different about a Netflix original is you
got Billboard, right?
There's a billboard in LA, but they also they pump it, they market it more internally. So in other words, you sign on to Netflix, if it's an original, it's going to be on the home page. They're going to spend money driving people to actually see your piece, your work.
That's huge. It's like podcasts on iTunes. If you get put in pop up on the new and noteworthy or the top pages, it puts you up there. Yeah, but that's how then all of a sudden, bam, you're going to have success from that because people will see it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like it's a whole trickle down pyramid scheme / I have no idea what I'm talking about, but man. Thank you. I really repeat guest for me. So Tom, you're the man.
Dude, thank you for having me, man. I always enjoy talking with you, man. And if you just tell Coach Lewis about, just give him some of my info, tell him what I can bring to the table.
I will definitely. I'm gonna tell him, man. I'm gonna see what we can do. I think we can get a good little workout set up. I think hopefully they'll let me maybe craft like the workout so I could put all the things you do well. We'll put you through those things.
Yeah, I mean cones.
225 bench for sure. I bet you can get at least 29 reps.
I mean, I could do something, man. I don't want to pick numbers out, but is that what you can do? Can you do 29?
No, the most I could ever do is like 25 or something. I'm never a big bencher. I tore my pec a while ago, so that hurt it a little bit.
5 though?
Yeah. Right now, I don't think I could.
How do you feel about the back arch, when guys? A whole back arch.
Oh, it's terrible. That's a cheat. That rep doesn't count.
That rep doesn't count?
No way. Come on. Do you do that?
Flat on the bench.
Flat back. If your back arches even an inch, nope. I'm gonna hit that. My coach is gonna knock that bar down into my chest.
Really?
Make it break my chin. Yeah.
And then high up. How high up? Pretty high up.
I don't know. That doesn't really matter, does it?
I think it does.
Really? Like if you go up by your neck?
No, not by your neck. But I noticed if you go like low pec,
Yeah.
strain here is much more like you can feel it way more, and I feel so much weaker. I go here and I'm banging out fucking 45 reps, man.
That's a solid bench.
Me and Big Daddy Wilkinson, man.
Cincinnati's own.
Yeah, man.
Tom Segura and Big Daddy.
Dad. Thanks, Dad. Thanks, AJ Hawk.
All right, Tom. We tell your wife Christina too. Once everything gets settled down with the kid, if she's willing, I would love to have her on here too, dude, man. She's hilarious.
You absolutely should have her on. It'd be great.
She's great, and tell her like her cackle laugh when that kills me. I love it. I love it. I think it's awesome.
I will tell her. She would love to talk to a football player. She absolutely hates football so much. I think it'd be so fun for you to talk to her. It'd be really.
I think it would be very fun. She could just kill me, and then we'll talk about you, and it'd be great, man. So, Tom, thanks a lot, man. We will mostly stories. We'll have people check it out. We'll link everything up. We're gonna have you on again at some point, man. You're awesome.
I want you to, when you come to LA, if you ever come out here, you got to come to your mom's house for sure.
Oh God, man! I just want to come be an observer. I don't even want to take a mic. I just want to watch you guys work.
You want to wait? I definitely want you on a mic.
We'll see. Your sound effects and your production during the show is just second to none. So
Brown Talk. I want you to play Tom or Black.
The clips. Tom or Black. I do want to play Tom or Black. Actually, I really want to play Tom or Black.
Hey, sup, Pac-Man? Make sure you holler at Pac-Man for me, okay?
I'll see if we can get you a video.
Man,
that's right up there with the whole Tyson deal and your closing bit for Mostly Stories. So yeah,
you give me a Pac-Man shout, dude. You have no idea what I'm gonna have to do for you because that'll make my life. Please,
I'm gonna honestly, I gotta make this happen now.
You do, yeah.
That'd be awesome. All right, Tom. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
We're glad you could join us for today's conversation. After you subscribe to the show, head over to thehawkcast.com or reach out to AJ directly on Twitter at @officialAJHawk to recommend future guests that will help us inspire people to keep talking. Thanks again, and we look forward to speaking with you next time on the HawkCast.